got the camera set up so I can talk to nearly two cameras at once, and that saves me doing another wrap-up video at the same time on Facebook, having to do that. I'm going to do this call and then head to the airport. So let me record the Monday Club call at the same time. So that's recording over there, and Facebook will kick in a minute. So I've got about 7 sort of key ideas. Obviously, if you've got any questions that have come up, feel free to let me know as well. Hello to everyone on Facebook that's tuning into this Facebook Live. I'll do this little introduction a couple of times, but what we're doing today is every Monday at 12:30, I do a Monday Club call with all of my clients. And what I thought I'd do today, because I'm doing a wrap-up of the Art of Goal Creation, and I've been coming on here every day while I've been in LA and doing a wrap-up of the day. We've just finished the last day here, so heading back to Australia tonight. And I thought I would share what I would usually do on the Monday Club call here on Facebook Live as well. So anyone that's been following those videos or that's participating in the live stream, but that's not yet a client, can access this Monday Club call. So hello to all of my clients tuning in via Zoom. Great to have you on the call as well. And to everyone starting to join this Facebook Live. So got a few people there. Hi, Emma. We've got Sarah, Lisa, a few of you watching through Facebook Live, and I can see a few of you coming in through the Zoom as well. So hello to everybody, which is fantastic to have you all. So just once again, before I get started, what's happening here today. So we've got our client Monday Club call that we usually do Monday lunchtime with all of my clients. So that's happening via Zoom, and at the same time we're streaming this conversation to Facebook Live. So anyone in my broader community who might have been following me over the last few days here in Los Angeles at Art of Goal Creation with Bob Proctor can benefit from this little summary, little wrap up that I'm going to do. I just sat down beforehand. I mean, there's been so much content over the last few days. It's where could I even start with taking a few key points away, I guess, from every day. If you're interested in more of what I'm about to cover, make sure you watch those wrap-up videos, particularly if you weren't on the live stream, but if you were, either or, that I did at the end of each day. So what I did before to prepare for this call was I sat down and I just sort of thought of as many as I came up with in terms of some really kind of key themes or ideas. And I am certain that I will not have covered them all, but I've chosen a few that really resonated with me over the last few days. And I'm going to go through kind of 7 ideas that really either were impressed multiple times or that resonated with me. So what was really beautiful, I guess, to start off with this seminar, I mean, this was a brand new seminar or a brand new program really that Bob Proctor wrote for this event. It's something that he has wanted to do for a long time, in put together a goals program like this. And so he came out with Art of Goal Creation, and that's really, it is a creative process, and we are working with creation because we're working with energy. And that energy, as we build an idea, as we build an image in our mind, we start to direct that energy into new form. And until you came up with that idea and that vision, that goal of what you wanted to create, that energy may never have moved in that particular direction until you worked with it. And that's why this is a creative process. It really is about goal creation. The goal achieving is a lawful process if you start to work in harmony with the laws of the universe and the laws of your mind. The goal creation process is one that very few people understand, and I've never seen anyone teach it as effectively as Bob Proctor has done over the last few years. So I feel very fortunate to have been live in the audience with him. And I know that my live streamers feel exactly the same way. And if you haven't been on the live stream, I hope that you've at least benefited in some way by me doing these daily wrap-up videos. And of course, if you'd like any more information on anything that I'm doing, this is going out to the Facebook Live now, or clients or whoever's tuning into this, then get in touch with us and we'll do our very best to help you. So I guess the first thing that I want to talk about is gratitude. This is a practice that I have been doing for a number of years now, and it was really emphasized at the start of each day as a way in which you can really mentally adjust yourself and to get on the right side of the energy, I guess. So when we think about gratitude, really what we're doing is we're getting in harmony with the good the universe has. And so when we practice gratitude, what we're really doing is we're looking to really feel it. Now, you will have heard me talk about the practice of gratitude, so really relaxing and then writing down 10 things that you're grateful for in the present tense. I'm so happy and grateful now that. And then at the end of those 10 things, you are spending 5 minutes asking for guidance from source energy or from universal mind, from God, and then sending love to 3 people that bother you. And we did this exercise every day for 3 days, and it was amazing to see the difference in terms of how we can fuse with that feeling of gratitude on day 1, and by day 3, how it was amplified 3-4 times in terms of being able to really feel the gratitude. We never want gratitude to be an intellectual process. And yet that is what it is for some people. It's a tick and flick, oh, I better fill out my gratitude journal. What you really want to do is feel it. You want to feel it in your heart. So whether that's watching a little video before you start, putting on some music, put your hand on your heart and feel it beating, and that's a heck of a lot to be grateful for. And the more you really focus on gratitude, what you're doing is you're hooking yourself up to the good stuff. In The Science of Getting Rich with Wallace de Wattles, he talks about gratitude as the whole process of mental attunement and atonement can be summed up in one word, gratitude. So what he's saying is you can tune yourself in to a higher state of awareness, tap into a higher vibration, and let all the rest go by really focusing on gratitude. The other beautiful thing about gratitude is that you can really be grateful for things in the past, things that are happening right now, and things not yet manifest in your physical world. And so when we understand that we already have our goals spiritually and mentally, we can be completely grateful for the fact that it is already manifested on the 2 out of the 3 physical planes that we exist. So we exist spiritually, mentally, and physically. And so we can be grateful for that, and you should be grateful for things that are on their way to you. I really love this practice of gratitude. We probably spent around 20 minutes every morning at the start of the seminar going through this activity, and if you're on the live stream, you will have done this as well. And hopefully you too, let me know the difference between day 1 when you did it and day 3. And I highly recommend that you commit to this practice every day, at least for the next 30 days, to form the habit of doing it. And even add in gratitude breaks into your day. You know, if you are going about your day and you're running late for a meeting, or something wrong with the car, or, you know, and you have a feeling like, I don't have time to do gratitude, that's when you want to take a gratitude break. Even if it is just for a minute or 2. Just to get out a sheet of paper and just connect and feel your heartbeat and just be grateful in that moment for all that is. And that just puts you back into that beautiful vibration where you're connected to source. And if you can imagine doing this as a practice daily and really feeling it, how good you are going to feel. And that is hooking you into that higher vibration where more opportunities or everything that you need for the accomplishment of your goal exists. So gratitude is a really powerful practice that you can use to help you accomplish and manifest what you need for the accomplishment of your goals. So if you're not doing it, most certainly get into the habit of doing it. There was something else that I wanted to say about gratitude. That's right. That when you're doing those first 10 things that you're grateful for, really feel it. If you don't get to 10 things, that's okay. But make sure the ones that you write down, you really feel, even if it's just that really good cup of coffee, or how beautiful night's sleep you had, or how comfortable your pillow is, or just grateful for your own mind. Grateful for, you know, the laughter of your kids in the house, or whatever it is. But just make sure you really feel it. You have that, that emotional connection, your puppy, whatever it is, because that's the feeling. And what happens is you're going to get better and more effective at doing this, and you're going to be able to tap into that emotional connection with greater ease because you've practiced this. So it's a gratitude practice on a day-to-day basis. Okay, the next idea, the next idea that I want to talk about is goals. Now, there's so much that we could go into around goals. The last 3.5 days, we've been talking about it all day, every day. But what I'll talk about is probably just with this kind of main overview idea that most people are not giving themselves permission to dream or to really let what they desire to bubble to the surface, because the paradigm kicks in so quickly and makes you doubt your ability to accomplish what you really want. So that's probably the main message that I want to communicate in terms of goals, is that you've got to really allow yourself to feel, to listen to the desires that you have deep in your heart, and let them bubble to the surface and write them down. If you get an idea, if a dream flashes in your mind, if a vision of the future, if anything flashes on the screen of your mind, write it down. You're not necessarily making a committed decision at that point in time to do it, but let it come to the surface. I was doing one of my auto-suggestion, one of my affirmations over the last few days, and I was talking about, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm a multimillionaire. And in that moment, instead of saying multimillionaire, I said multi-billionaire. And I kind of caught myself in that moment, and I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, that just rolled off the end of my tongue. Anyway, I wrote it down, and I was talking to a colleague of mine, and he said, oh, so how's your $1 billion idea going, Karen? And I said, you know what, to be honest, I've never thought about that before. I've never truly entertained the idea of being a billionaire. But it flowed off my tongue, so I've written it down and I've parked it there, and, you know, it's there. So most people, if that happened to them, they would laugh it off, right? Oh, that's a ridiculous idea. Whereas the more you get into this, nothing is ridiculous. What's ridiculous is that you don't realize the power and potential that you have within you to create whatever you want. Now, that's not necessarily a desire of me, and it's at this point in time, it's not a want of mine. But you can't reject these ideas as you get them. You write them down, and the more you let that kind of that flow, the more likely it is that you'll really discover what it is within you. So that's really the main point that I want to communicate with you right now. I also want to remind you that there is a power flowing to and through you that will take any idea you turn over to it, and that you drench with emotion, and it will bring it into physical form. That you are hooked into this right now, that you have it flowing to and through you right now. But desire is the mechanism that releases it, that really kicks it into high gear. If your thoughts and ideas are focused on old pictures or limiting ideas or goals of the past or small ideas, then that's all the power you've got, right? But it is flowing through you, and it is creating your world right now. You are creating your circumstances right now. So you want to remember that any idea. So why don't you think about what you really want and build the vision, build the ideal that you want, and start to think about what would be that goal that really lights the fire inside of you. And allow yourself to think about what you really want. And I'm thinking about you right now, Tammy, actually, because I know what your C-type goal is, or what it was. It might have got bigger or changed from now, but I'm sure we've had a conversation about, increasing that or doubling that. And I remember that your paradigm straight away kicked in, and you had a little giggle to yourself because you thought, I'm not sure about that. But I really want you to think about that. I want you to make yourself really uncomfortable with your C-type goal. I want you to go well beyond what would seem obvious and reasonable for you to accomplish, because you have a great foundation now to make a very big quantum leap, and you are not without anything within you right now to let that happen. So Tammy, I'm talking to you, and I want you to think about that. The next thing in terms of goals, so it's not enough just to become aware of the goal, just to want the goal. We've got to get into harmony with it. And Bob, he spoke about this all the time, but he touched on it again today in terms of the law of attraction and The Secret. So when The Secret came out, everybody got involved with this idea of law of attraction, that you've just got to want something. And if you want it enough, and if you do enough affirmations, it'll happen. And that's not true at all. The law of attraction is a secondary law. And most of the people that are teaching the law of attraction don't really understand it. Bob is without a doubt the best of the best of the best in the world, truly understanding this law of vibration and really how the law of attraction works in response to the law of vibration. So what do we mean here? That you attract to you and you create in your world what you are in harmony with. So when you think about this, that you can want something, but if you're not in a vibrational match for it, then you're gonna miss it every time. It's like you're gonna be on parallel train tracks your entire life. Wanting is not enough. You do not get what you want, you get what you're willing to become. And you can't get to your goals from where you are. You have to come from your goals. And when you start to think and act from the place of your goal, what you are doing is you are getting into the vibration of it. You're getting into the frequency of it. And like energy attracts like energy. So when you're starting to think and act from the place of your goal, you're actually starting to get into harmony with it. And what's actually happening, if you think about the secret genie, if you think about the stick person diagram of the mind and the body and how results are created, what you're actually doing is you're fundamentally changing the energy and the vibration in your body. And that is starting to move into a new frequency. We carry energy with us. We can see energy. And so as you start to build the picture and you start to change what is happening at a subconscious level, you're actually starting to change the frequency, the energy leaving your body, and that is of a higher frequency. And so you're starting to get into harmony with what you want. And that's how you start to attract to you the resources, the people, the opportunities that you need for the accomplishment of your goal, because you're in harmony with it. It's like you're on the same train tracks now, you're in harmony with it. Frequency, when you listen to music, there is music in the room right now. But if we're not in harmony with it, if we don't have the right devices to translate that frequency so my ears can pick it up, then I can't hear it. And it's exactly the same in terms of your goals, that what you want exists in a frequency beyond the one that you're presently living in. So not only do we have to get into that frequency, we have to stay there for long enough for the goal to manifest. Because if we're in and out of it, if we're like a yo-yo, if we're like a jack in the box up and down the whole time, we're never on that frequency for long enough to manifest it. So that's where your study comes in. That's where visualization comes in. That's where gratitude comes in. That's where faith-based in understanding comes in. That's where studying this every single day starts to come in, because what you're doing, that's where accountability comes in. What you're doing is you're putting yourself on the frequency of the good you desire, and you're creating the environment around you so that you can hold yourself in that frequency for long enough for the physical manifestation of that goal. If you're in and out of it, it's going to take a lot more time. I think it was the wrap-up video yesterday that I spoke about. If the goal doesn't manifest by the date you put on it, you have to ask yourself these two questions. Did I do everything I could every day, and did I expect it to happen? And so if the date comes and goes, the date's just a guess anyway, but you course correct. If you can honestly say to yourself that, yes, I did everything I could every day and I expected it to happen and it didn't manifest, then the date was just wrong. You just choose another date. You give yourself an extension. If you look at those two questions and you say, well, actually, I probably didn't do everything I could every day and I didn't completely expect it to happen, then you still give yourself an extension and you close that knowing doing gap. Means you haven't shifted the paradigm yet, and you course correct and you keep going. There's no guilt, there's no frustration around this. It is a learning process. And as you learn and grow, so will your results improve at the same time. So just remember that that we think on frequencies. And for your goal to manifest, you have to get onto the same frequency of your goal and stay there for long enough to physically manifest it. And that's what the coaching programs are all about. That's what your study is all about. All right, I'm just going to check the chat here in our Zoom call. If you've just joined us on the Facebook Live, what we're doing today is every Monday lunchtime, I have a Monday Club call with my clients. And today on that call, I was doing a wrap up of the Art of Goal Creation seminar and going through a few key ideas. So we're streaming that to the Facebook Live so that you also can hear this wrap up. As you know, on Facebook, I've been doing wrap up videos every day. And so that we're just sort of doubling up on both platforms today as well. So welcome to those of you who are joining me on the Facebook Live, and welcome to everybody who is tuning in through the Facebook Zoom, through our Zoom Lunch and Learn Monday Club call as well today. So welcome to everybody. I'm still here in Los Angeles. I fly back to Brisbane tonight. It's been a phenomenal 3.5 days, and I'm so enthused about helping you all grow and take your results to the next level in 2019. It truly just keeps getting better and better. And I can honestly say that. I've been studying with Bob Proctor now. In fact, it'll be 4 years on the 29th of January when I joined his mailing list, and the 30th of January when I started to study with him. So it's nearly 4 years to the day. And I've never got bored of it. I've never outgrown it. I love the changes that have occurred in my life, but most of all, I love the person that I've become. And it is all as a result of this material, and I just see such a beautiful, bright future that's better and better, not only for myself, but for every single one of you that's here, because I know how good it can get, and I know that it's nowhere near as good as it can be. So no matter where you're at right now, working with me or in my community, I want you to remember that. And regardless of what you've accomplished up until this point in time, it is still nowhere compared to where you can go in the future. So let yourself really think about what it is you want. Let yourself build a bigger picture, a bigger dream. And if it scares the living daylights out of you, all the better for it, because that means you're really going to grow. And hopefully you fall in love with it, and you should fall in love with the idea at the same time. It should scare you because you've never been there before, but it should excite and enthuse you at the same time because you really want it. That is what we would call a beautiful C-type goal. You don't know how to get it, but it's something you really want. The fourth idea that I want to talk about today is around paradigms. Now, this wasn't a paradigm shift seminar, but we certainly spoke about paradigms, because paradigms and shifting the paradigm is one of the six, it's one of the 6 phases that is essential that you work on for the manifestation of your goals. So there's 6 phases to work through, and creating that paradigm shift is one of them. So what I just want to talk about in terms of paradigms, understand that if the paradigm doesn't change, the results don't change. So it doesn't matter how much you build this picture in your mind, how much you really want it, no matter how committed you are to it, if you're not creating that paradigm shift at the same time, the results won't change. So what is a paradigm? A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior, and almost all of your behavior is habitual. So what that means is that you are a walking, talking product of what you already have. It's like a computer that has programs on it, and the computer can only give you in proportion to the programs that it has on it. So if you want more money, but you haven't built a paradigm around exactly how much more money you want, you got to be happy with $1 more, because that's the most. You're not being specific about what you want. If you're attracting negative or bad relationships into your life and you don't change that paradigm within you, no matter what else you go and do, those are going to be the same relationships that you attract. No matter what it is, you've got to be willing to change the paradigm. And that's not easy to do, and it's most certainly not easy to do by yourself. It takes a little bit of time, committed effort, discipline on a day-to-day basis, but once you upgrade that paradigm, you create that paradigm shift, everything changes. You know, if you want to get to the point where you get so good at creating a paradigm shift, you can do it really quickly, like 30 days or less, couple of months. couple of weeks, depending on how long it's been there for. That's how effective you want to be at creating paradigm shifts. I remember when I started to study thinking into results many years ago, and I wanted to really work on my money paradigm. When I ran my branding and marketing company, when I went through the global financial crisis, I found myself in a declining financial situation, and that had started to impact a little bit on my self-image and a little bit on my confidence as a businesswoman. And so when I started to study thinking into results, that was one of the areas that I really worked on, was my own self-worth, my confidence, and my money paradigm, where I expected more to start to flow to me, and that I loved it, and that I looked after it, and I enjoyed having it, and I built a really positive new paradigm, not only around my thoughts, but my actions, my behavior with money. And I remember having credit card debt, all sorts of things. And it took me about 6 months to really work on that paradigm. So a lot longer than it would take me now to work on any kind of paradigm shift. But when you're learning the process, it can take a little bit more time to learn how to change a paradigm. But once you know how to do it, you can change things really quickly. Now I can shift results or change paradigms in a few weeks, because I know exactly what I need to do every single day in terms of reprogramming my subconscious mind and the habits, the physical habits that go with it, that it doesn't matter what area of my life it's in, business, financial, personal, clients, health and fitness. Within a few weeks, I can absolutely see that paradigm shifting. And then I know how to not only maintain it, because I've worked at the root cause, I've made it permanent because I've really worked on the primary cause, my mind, the subconscious mind. So if you're feeling like you're working at this and the results are slow to show, I promise you they will show up, but the time frame involved will be different for everybody. But once you learn how to do it, you'll have it for the rest of your life, and it will be permanent. So just remember that. You know, I remember Sandy shared a story today of when she was creating the Thinking into Results program. And it took her about 3 years from when she came up with the idea, I think, to when they actually had the program ready and Bob was selling it in a seminar. And she said, for so long there was no physical evidence that my dream would manifest. And that's what you're up against. You have to really build and use those mental faculties of yours, lesson 5 of Thinking into Results. In particular, your imagination, your will, your ability to shut down outside sensory factors, your reasoning factor, perception, intuition, memory, to really live from the inside out and to see the results that you want on the other side of the paradigm shift, and not let circumstances or your environment dictate what's going to go on the inside. Now, you will get more effective at doing that the more you go through your Thinking into Results program, the more you keep studying and moving through the study opportunities that you have, whatever you're working with me on right now. But what I want you to remember is that there is going to be a period of time where you will not see any change in your physical environment, but that does not mean things are not changing, because it's all happening in the paradigm on the inside first. And slowly but surely you start to see your behavior shift, your energy shift, how you feel shift, and then and only then do you start to see the results change on the outside. So just remember that. If you've got great, I've got a few questions coming in there on the chat, so we'll get to those in a moment and ask a few questions. All right, another point is around being in action on a day-to-day basis. So goal achieving activities, your 6 goal achieving activities every day. This is where you really start to focus your thought and action on a day-to-day basis. Not only really thinking about what are the most important activities that I need to focus on today to move me towards my goal, but then moving into action on them. So, you know, I've got my little goal achieving activities pad over there, but you can just get a little notebook. If you don't have a goal achieving activities pad right now, a little A5 notebook, what you want to do is write the goal at the top of the page and really think about those 4 to 6. I think 6 is great, but 4 to 6 goal achieving activities. Now, these are not admin tasks. these are really things that are going to move you towards your goal. They're probably going to make you feel a little uncomfortable. You might not really want to do them because they're not habit for you right now, but put them on the list. And when you wake up in the morning, I personally like to get 1 to 2 done before breakfast. I remember when I was creating a paradigm shift a couple of years ago, when I knew that I wanted to have a family and I wanted my business to continue to grow, not go backwards, that I made a paradigm shift in terms of my productivity. So I knew that I needed to get a lot more done in half as much time in a much calmer, more effective way. And so, I use this material to create that paradigm shift. And when I was creating the paradigm shift around time and money on a day-to-day basis, I used, one of my habits was to write my 6 goal achieving activities before I went to bed the night before, and to wake up and get 2 of them done before breakfast, so that I'd have all of them done before midday and that I could finish work at 2 o'clock. And that's how I created that paradigm shift of working half as much and increasing and growing my business at the same time, in preparing myself. In my imagination, I already had my baby and I'd already had my family, and so I was building the paradigm that was in harmony of that before there was any physical evidence that there was any little kids on the way. So that's how you do it. The goal achieving activities are really powerful. And you want to make a commitment that you will write those goal achieving activities and that your focus will be on number 1 when you wake up in the morning. And if there's any reason why you can't get through number 1, if it's outside your control, then you move on to number 2 and you move on to number 3, and you work you work through them one by one. And if you're getting distracted or circumstances outside you are starting to distract you, then that is the paradigm. That's the struggle between your will and the paradigm trying to take you off course. If you can course correct on that and close that knowing doing gap, you're going to astound yourself with how much you're going to improve your results in a short period of time. But I'm telling you, that paradigm doesn't want you to win. So you've got to be really serious about this. Number 6, so just a couple more points to go before I take a few questions, is around visualization. So Sandy always teaches a fabulous session on visioneering, which she did today on the last day. And she works with a bit of material from Genevieve Brand, Your Invisible Power. So many of you will know that from time to time, I teach a little bit of Thomas Troward. And Genevieve Brand was one of Thomas Trowad's only pupils, one-on-one pupils. I'm just going to have a quick drink before I get into this topic on visualization. And in her book, Your Invisible Power, in the order of visualization, she talks about bringing order to the mind through visioneering, through using your imagination and your will. I don't have all of the words in front of me right now, but what I want to emphasize out of this as a takeaway is that you want to get into the daily practice of visualization. And a couple of things that we're doing with visualization is you must train yourself in the deliberate practice of visualizing your heart's desire. So that's sort of the first sentence from the order of visualization with Genevieve Brand. And what she's saying there, you must train yourself in the practice. So of picturing your heart's desire. So you've got to use your imagination and your will, 2 of your mental faculties, but you have to practice this. It's like if you don't use your imagination, it's not going to become strong. If you're trying to go out there and run and you're not practicing running, are you going to become good at running? No. It's the same. If you are wanting to strengthen your imagination and strengthen your will, your ability to hold one image on the screen of your mind to the exclusion of all others, you have to practice doing this. And so it must become a daily habit. And I know that I have made it a daily habit to practice this, consistently for the next few months, every single day, to really train myself in the practice of deliberately picturing my heart's desire, and so that I can become far more effective at it. Really be a nutcracker when it comes to picturing it and manifesting what I want. What you're actually doing with visualization, though, is as you're visualizing and you're fusing with it, so you're really feeling it on the screen of your mind, you're actually changing your subconscious mind. So you're actually starting to change that paradigm. Your subconscious mind is completely deductive. What that means is it can only accept. So any idea that you drench with emotion, your subconscious mind will take and accept. Now, if we don't train ourselves in the deliberate practice of picturing our heart's desire and holding it with our will, what's the imagination going to do? It's going to use it against us. We're going to be picturing things we don't want. We're going to be letting the environment or what's going on around us form the pictures in our imagination. That's not what we don't want. But if we're not exercising it, if we're not deliberately picturing what we want and holding it with our will, that's exactly what's going to happen. You are going to be a martyr for everything going on outside you, and it's just going to be streaming in, and you're going to be building pictures and getting emotionally involved with things that you don't want. And I can say that because I've done that. I have done that. I have been at that point, or throughout the last few years, where I haven't been doing this regularly, and I've been getting emotionally involved with pictures of what I don't want, of circumstances that I don't want to experience. So I can say this to you honestly because it's happened to me when my imagination has started to work against me, not for me. But the only way you can become stronger and more effective at doing this is by practicing. You know, you have mental muscles right now that if you're not out there in the gym of thinking into results, and the gym of lead the field, strengthening them, then they're going to be pretty weak, and they're really no good to you. You're going to be inadvertently using them against yourself to maintain the results that you've got, or worse, create worse results. So this is happening right now. We can't switch this power on and off. We've got this power flowing to and through us right now, and it's your mental faculties that are controlling and directing it. So either you get in control of them and you learn how to use them effectively to create what you want, or you're going to create something, and it's likely going to be what you don't want, more of the same, or at worst, or worse. So really think about that. But visualization, really picturing what you want and examining the picture. So when you're visualizing, this is something that Sandy really taught today, is you've got to go inside the picture and examine it. And you're not as a third person on the balcony looking at the picture in your imagination. You've got to be in it. You've got to see the picture through your own eyes and examine that picture and walk around that picture and think from that picture as though you are looking at the world through your own eyes. So really think about that with your visualizing practice, that you want to be in the picture, you want to be examining the picture, and you want to, it should be as vivid as, when you wake up from those dreams overnight and it's so raw and visceral, like it was real. And you can create that in your imagination. The more you practice visualizing and really getting into it, I was doing it there in the room today, visualizing my goal, and I recorded a little bit of the music that was on in the background because I know how this works now. I know that what I can do when I get home is I can put that music on that'll take me back to the room in that moment where I had my eyes closed and I was visualizing, and it was so vivid in my mind, this picture, and it flashed up. I didn't have to struggle or strain. I just let the picture form on the screen of my mind, and I was there. And when I put that little bit of background music on as I'm really building out this new picture of my goal, I know that I can use memory, one of my 6 mental faculties, to take myself back to that moment and completely embody it mentally and physically in the emotion of it. So when you learn about these mental faculties, there's all these sort of games and tricks and things that you can start to use to really help you create what you want. It is a creation process. We don't have to get our goals. We can't get to our goals from where we are. This is not an intellectual process. Yes, we are using functions of our intellectual mind to help us go there, but it is a lawful process that we are working with here. All right, the last one that I want to talk to you about, which is probably the one that most of you won't want to hear about, but it is accountability. You are so much more likely to accomplish what you want when you're accountable. Last night when I went to bed, I was reading up on some of the performance habits of Olympic athletes who have won gold medals. And without question, you know, one of the top 5 habits of Olympic athletes, or particularly medalists, is accountability to their coach, to their team around them, and most of them keep a training journal. Like, they're very honest with themselves. They look at their results all the time. They've all got clearly defined goals. They've got a training schedule. They keep a training journal, and they are accountable to their coach or the people around them. This is not for lightweights. And all of those same principles are built into your mentoring programs. But accountability, we're going to be getting, you know, really serious about this idea of accountability in 2019. Nicole and I are working on some ideas with that at the moment. And we're really going to be working on you holding yourself accountable to another person. So accountability greatly increases your chance of success. When you're having someone that you respect and you're accountable to each other, you're going to greatly increase your chances of success. You're not going to let yourself off the hook, and you're not going to let them off the hook. And because you know someone else is expecting something from you, or to hear from you, or that you've done something, you're most certainly not going to want to let them down, but you don't want to let yourself down. You know, what you want is what you want, and it's your paradigm that has you doubt your ability to do that. It's your paradigm that talks you out of doing the very thing you want to do. It's your paradigm that says, you don't have to worry about it today. You know, it's all these little things, but the more accountable you are to another person, the more you're going to form the discipline to really form these habits of success, these habits that'll get you working in harmony with the law, really, really creating the results that you want. So you'll hear more from us on that note moving forward in terms of accountability. All right, so we're sort of getting, that's certainly my 7 things. I'm just going to sum up those 7 kind of key ideas that we looked at. So number 1 was around gratitude, forming the daily practice of gratitude. The second was around goals and really making sure you're moving towards a picture in your mind of something that's growth, so something you really want that you've never had before. And don't limit yourself. Really let yourself think about what you really want and get it down on a sheet of paper. Get all of it down on a sheet of paper, and then pick the one that jazzes you up the most, and that becomes your goal. Remember that we think on frequencies and that everything exists in frequencies. So your goal is up here and you're down here. We need a paradigm shift to get up here. But once you're on that frequency and your ability to hold yourself there, that's where the accountability, understanding your mind, paradigms, habits, all of those come into play. But if you can stay there, then you're on the same train tracks. It's going to happen just as sure as it gets dark tonight. It's a lawful process. Remember about paradigms. So paradigms are your biggest problem but your greatest possibility. The paradigms that you have at the moment are keeping you getting the results that you want. When you change the paradigm, when you create a better paradigm for the results that you want, then the results have to change. It's a lawful process. And so learning how to do that and becoming more effective at doing that, that's the key. Remember about your goal achieving activities and being in action every day around what is going to move you towards your goal, and not getting lost in those menial tasks of the day that seem extremely important because the paradigm makes you think that, but actually they're not moving you to your goal at all. They're probably taking you further away from it. So you have to manage those, but you focus on the goal achieving activities day to day. Remember about visualization. Visualization puts you in the vibration of your goal. It puts you on the frequency of your goal. And it really is a mechanism with which you shift that paradigm. So if you're not practicing this daily, I recommend you start with 5 minutes in the morning and make it the last thing that you do at the end of the night. And the last thing is around accountability. When you hold yourself accountable to another person, you greatly increase your chances of success. So those are a little 7 takeaways. So I'm going to take a couple of questions. I've got a couple of questions coming in here from the Zoom call now. If you've just joined us on Facebook, we're streaming my Monday Club client Zoom call to Facebook to include it as a wrap-up of the Art of Goal Creation event with Bob Proctor that I'm just finishing up here in Los Angeles at the moment. So I hope you've enjoyed tuning in and you've got some value, which I trust you have. This material is so good, you can't not. So if you have a question for me, feel free to put it on the thread on the Facebook group as well, and I'll try and keep an eye on that. But I'm going to take some here at the moment. And for accountability partners, would it be best to partner with our existing masterminders if they want to, of course? Look, I think that's great, Anne, as long as you respect each other. And in the back of your Thinking into Results Participants Guide, there is actually an accountability form you can use. I might, Nicole, if you're still here, I might just get you to, is there a separate accountability form that we have? Not sure about that. Nicole, if you could have a look in the back of our TIR Participants Guide, I'm pretty sure there is a accountability form. We might even type that up and put some branding on it, and we'll get that out to our mastermind groups. And I think that's a very easy and effective place to start in terms of your accountability. But what we're going to look at with the accountability partners across Thinking into Results or the New Lead the Field is what Bob has suggested with this art of goal creation, that you have your weekly and monthly things that you're going to do. You check in, have a plan for the week, you let your accountability partners know, and then every day you have that quick 5-minute phone call for the first 2 months, and then you go to once a week for the rest of your 6 months or 12 months. So we're going to work a little bit more on that idea when I get back, but Anne, I would agree that I think your mastermind group's a great place to start. Sarah, am I coming back in April, and do I know if it's held at the same venue? So it is definitely held at the same venue, and yes, I do plan on being here at the end of April. And can you email the link, the visioneering to a song that calls to your dreams? I'm not sure the question to that, Anne, but maybe you could send Nicole an email and we'll follow up on that for you in terms of exactly what you're looking for there. Great, so if there's any other questions, either Facebook Live or Zoom, I'm just going to check the Facebook Live thread now if I can and see if there's any questions that have come up. So great to have so many of you tuned in here. If you were on the live stream, what was your big takeaway? What was the thing that you loved so much about the live stream? I'd love to hear about it. You can comment on either in the chat, in the Zoom call, or on the Facebook Live. All right. Okay, well, I would say, oh, great. So can you email a link to the music you love whilst you're visioneering, or is silence better? I think a little bit of background music's lovely. Find some music that really resonates with you, that puts you in a very relaxed state. What I would recommend is that you're in a very relaxed state when you, as best you can, when you're visualizing. So remember, visualization is not a meditation. You're very active in your imagination. But we had some lovely background music playing through this actual program. So look, I'll have a think about that, Anne, and see what I can find that I use. Sometimes I also use some alpha waves, or there's lots of little things that you can use on YouTube. So look, what we'll do is we'll put together a few suggestions and we'll get that out to we'll get it out in an email to everybody. So no worries. Okay, all right, everyone. Well, we might wrap up there today. I hope that you've really enjoyed today's call. Remember that you've got a 2-week replay with the live stream. So personally, I'm really looking forward to doing that replay over the next couple of weeks. And I've got my accountability partners, which I'm extremely grateful for. I'm at a whole new level, I have to say. This program was perfect timing for me. So I'm extremely grateful to have been here. I'm extremely grateful to have you as part of my community, and to be able to serve you and grow you and help you not only set and become aware of what you really want, but show you the exact step-by-step process to the accomplishment and the manifestation of those goals. It's just such a beautiful thing, and I cannot imagine not having this information in my life. I'm so grateful that I made a very quick, effective decision nearly 4 years ago to invest time and money in myself. I feel like I found home here with the Proctor Institute, and it's only just begun. I want to help a lot more people. I want to get this information out to hundreds of people over the next 12 months. So if I can help you or someone you know in any way, please feel free to reach out and make contact. So on that note, have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in here. And like I say, if I can help you in any way, if we can be of greater service to you, if there's something that you need, please feel free to reach out. We're definitely here to help. So have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll talk to you all when I get back to Australia. Bye for now, everybody.